So it is spring and I've got the solar array water collection system completed.
It's been improved by a foam pad filter and also by a plastic sheet that keeps the water from running in between the array and the gutter. Over here, where it comes out by the shed, will eventually be buried more. But other than that, it's pretty much finished.
So it all comes down to this point. I put a valve on it and I just use a hose to be able to take water out.
You're looking at hopefully our very last jug of water that had to be hauled to the RV this winter, because that is the sound of a thunderstorm filling our IBC tote. We have water and we're going to drink it.
So I run the hose over to a pump and then I've got the pump plugged in around the corner. I had this all done when we had it up on the hill last summer, and I had the filters hanging from the tire here. So I'm getting ready to put the hose to the pump, hose out of the pump, through the filters, and then I'll fill our fresh water tank. Since we've got at least 3 more freezes in the next few days, I've got to take all this apart again.
Some of you may remember from a recent episode that we picked up a butcher block table with the intention of turning it into a countertop for our bathroom sink. But first, Charles had to cut off the end of the tabletop, and that turned out to be more difficult than he anticipated.
Well, it looks like the blade is trying to go off this direction. I think these blades are too fine and thin for this thick of wood that I'm trying to cut. I need a thicker tooth.
So he went to the closest hardware store to buy a thicker blade. It didn't fit his new saw, but thank goodness he still had the old one that belonged to his grandfather.
My old skill saw worked to cut it. Just needs some sanding.
We bought the sink itself secondhand as well, and it's the under-the-counter type, which makes the whole project more of a challenge for Charles because he has to cut a more perfect hole for it.
So I've put in a lot of hours making a template to cut the sink hole in our butcher block countertop. So I started by putting the sink on top of here and routing out a pattern of the exact shape, but then I needed to make the shape smaller. So I made a fence. This board here gives me a lip here to run my router plate around the edge of this. And I had to custom fabricate a router plate to be exactly 3 3/4 inch radius. So I put my cut exactly 1 inch inside of the outside of the sink. So this is going to be a test run. I'm not going to cut all the way through my template. I'm just going to cut halfway through it and take a measurement and see how smoothly it goes around before I use it to actually cut into the butcher block itself. Finish cutting this out and let this drop out. And then I have to order a new router bit that's longer so I can go all the way through the butcher block. This little bit's only this long and the butcher block's 2 inches thick. So this is the butcher block below that I've already cut the chunk out undersized with a jigsaw. And so now that I've got this fence around here, I need to get a longer router bit that'll go all the way through this, and then I'll stick that in there and I'll run the same route, and it'll make a nice smooth cut all the way around for the sink. So I finally got my router bits. Been a few days since I started this, so I'm going to finish her up.
What did you do while I was gone for work?
I finished cutting out the bathroom vanity top for the sink,
Oh my goodness.
and I've been sanding on it. We got to inspect it.
We are looking down here from the yurt platform to the rainwater collection tanks, which we will use very soon to collect water from the yurt rooftop. But what I want to show you today are these footprints, which are most definitely not from a deer. We have yet to see a moose with our eyes or even on the trail camera, but it sure looks like one wandered through here this spring. It even left these souvenirs by our scamp guest room at the top of the hill. Now that you've met our bathroom countertop, you won't be surprised to hear that we decided to go with wood for the kitchen as well. But Charles doesn't have the tools to put together a 12-foot long piece of butcher block, so we found a local furniture maker and had one custom made.
It'd be perfect for shuffleboard.
It looks so huge right now.
When you put the finish on it, everything will be enhanced dramatically. That's when the grain really comes to life.
Yeah.
So is it just glued together?
It is. Yep.
Someone was asking us about that today, if it had any other
Fasteners.
fasteners in it.
No, there's no need. With a butcher block top, a good glue joint is actually stronger than wood. We use Type-On 3, food safe, water resistant, and the idea behind butcher block tops is all the little pieces kind of keep each other in check and prevent the top from curling or warping. That's not to say it still can't, especially in the sun. So driving down the road, you're pretty good, but whenever you get to where you are, you probably want to try to get it out of the sun.
Yeah, we're going to get it out immediately.
Yeah, okay.
And this is the top, I guess.
This is the top.
Yeah.
We were lucky my family was in town when we heard the countertop was ready, because Uncle John was strong enough to help Charles carry it. At one point, I tried to pick up one end of it, and I couldn't even get it off the ground. If you listen closely, you can hear the sound of spring, even while the ice is taking its time to melt on this pool in the shade of the forest. Those are male wood frogs calling. Good afternoon. It's a chilly, windy day, but the frogs are out and about. The wood frogs have started coming to this vernal pool, and I'll try to show them to you under the water. They're being pretty cautious right now. They're not chorusing, they're just hiding underneath the surface. Let me show you. If you can see through the reflection on the surface of the water there, there's a male on top of a female, and there's also another male not too far away from that. There they go. I think I disturbed them a little bit. Here's the other male hiding over here by himself. Okay, so I promise I won't disturb every frog that I come across this year, but I do want to make sure you get a good close-up look at the wood frogs. Their coloration is really dark right now. Once they come out of their frozen state in the winter, it takes them a while to get back to their summertime coloration. I also came across a couple of eastern newts in the vernal pool. This is the aquatic adult stage of the beautiful red eft that I showed you walking around the woods last summer. And speaking of summer, we have warm weather coming soon with lots of outdoor projects and hopefully more wildlife to share. So we'll see you in the next one.